Hello, and welcome to the Early Burnt Pan video guide. This glitch combines the use of persistence glitch, bagel storage, double overflows, and choicer storage to allow you to get the burnt pan in waterfall. This trick can save approximately 5 to 7 seconds in neutral, and more than a minute in categories where it is required to kill Undyne, such as dog ending or all major endings. Persistence glitch is required, so it is only possible on versions 1.001 Linux, 1.001 Mac, and the PS4 and Xbox One console ports of the game. Set up persistence glitch on Mad Dummy in a very similar way to how you would normally do it. Overflow the save, and slash text box overflow wrong warp and save. Take an overflow off of the garbage. Head over to the top, interact, close the text box when you hit the trigger, walk down to finish scrolling, and walk back up. Once the screen stops scrolling, you continue to walk down. Advance the text all the way to the part. One more from here, human, I'll scare your soul out of your body. Now you should be able to see at the very bottom right, you can see Frisk's feet on the ground. What you will want to do is go as far to the left as possible as you can before entering the room. Now I will do that really quick. This is the pixel. This is as far left as possible. You can see I am still holding down right now. As soon as I stop holding down, you will no longer be able to see the feet. And so I'm going to press the menu, and so the feet will no longer be there, and you can just see Frisk's puddle. The application that you can see in the top left corner of the screen is called Flow Timer. You will want to be using Flow Timer for this trick. A link to the GitHub page for Flow Timer can be found in the video description. Flow Timer is a metronome application that is used frequently in speedrunning to make timing a trick much easier. The settings that I will be using for this trick are, as you can see, offset 1650 milliseconds, interval 166 milliseconds, beeps 9. The offset will likely vary from person to person. My personal setup includes a significant amount of audio delay, so your setup will likely have a larger offset than mine. This is normal, as every person's setup varies slightly. The difference in the offset does not mean that the trick will be faster or slower for you. Figure out which key that you will want to use to start Flow Timer. I recommend that you use Enter, and this video will demonstrate the trick as if you are using Enter. If you decide to use Z, simply reverse the Z and Enter inputs for this part of the trick. In the Flow Timer settings, set Enter as the start keybind and ensure that global start-stop is ticked on. Once you are on the pixel, press C to open the menu, Enter to advance the menu and close the text, and Z twice to open the punch card. You will need to do this before the 5th beep on Flow Timer. After the 5th beep, close the punch card, open the menu, press the Z twice to advance to use, and on the 9th beep, press Z while holding down and left to enter the transition. This is very similar to a wrong warp, but make sure that you do not close the punch card. I have personally liked to time the button presses each on one of the beeps. So on beep 5, I press Z to close the punch card. On beep 6, I press C to open the menu. On beep 7, I press Z to advance one spot in the menu. On beep 8, I press Z to advance to the use on the punch card. And on beep 9, I press Z and down and left to open the punch card and move into the transition. Altogether, it will look something like this. If you enter the transition too early, you will wrong warp and soft lock, reload the game and attempt the trick again. If you enter the transition too late, you'll go through the fight, but you'll not get persistence glitch. You can still, at this point, attempt the glitch. When you're in the fight, die as quickly as possible. The fastest way to do it is to take 5 damage in the first phase at least, and in the second phase, get hit 3 times as quick as possible. If you'd like to know more about how to die as quickly as possible, including some RNG dependent ways to advance the tech fight faster, you can look in the original Mad Dummy skip guide that will be linked. After the fight, if you successfully got persistence glitch, the punch card will be open like this, and text will pop up. You can close the punch card and start advancing until no worries. You can continue to move at this point. Just know that you have to get all the way to no worries. Now at this point, you can close the flow timer application. You'll no longer need it. We'll now be doing a double overflow on the cooler. Here are the inputs required for double overflow. Note that every 2 rows represents 1 in-game frame, so this control press lasts for 1 frame. Now, this control press doesn't need to be exactly 1 frame. Press Control to open the menu, and then these 2 Z presses or Enter presses, whatever you'd like, will move you to use on the punch card. That being said, the first Enter press will skip Nafluke's text to its last line. This starts a 24 or a 28 frame timer, and you'll need to start this next part at some point within this 28 frame window. If you wait too long, it will no longer be possible. Now these 4 frames right here are the important frames. Once you're on Use, on the first frame, you can press Z and X or Enter and Shift to skip the text to the end and use the punch card. Then press Z again to interact with the cooler for the first time. This also ends Napstablook's text, and then 2 frames after that you will press Z to interact with the cooler a second time. Sometime after that you will need to close the punch card and walk away, and you need to make sure that you do not interact with the cooler a third time. This Z press here is frame perfect, so it needs to be on the 3rd frame after turn. This press needs to be on the 2nd frame, or the 1st frame after return. This part of the trick is way too fast to commentate live, but it will look something like this. Notice the 2 lines of text there. You'll need to walk out of the room and hold on one of these walls. You'll not be able to wrong warp. You can skip Napstablook's cutscene if you'd like. Make sure to clear it so that it goes away. And enter the room with the bird. You will not want to wrong warp into this room. If you wrong warp into this room, you will be put on the other side of the room. That will lose way more time than it would save in neutral, because you will then have to get yourself back to the other side. So go over to the bird, overflow it, and interact again. Decline its request for a ride 2 times, take the legendary artifact, and see the "this will never happen" sign. That sets the global MSC value, and that will be what we abuse to get the burnt pan. Now, wrong warp out of this room, or don't, whatever you want, but make sure whatever you do, do not infill the punch card. If you infill the punch card, it will reset the global.msc value, and you'll have to do the part with the duck again. Now enter this room, and you should appear here, with text up against the wall. Mash all the way through the text, you should see 3 hearts pop up and close. Now if you open here, you will see you have the burnt pan. You do not need to equip these yet. Now, when leaving the room, the transition on the side that you are at currently after matching will not be active. This is part of persistence glitch. So you will need to go on the other side, and you can exit the room, wrong warping or otherwise. And continue on. There are a few more things you need to do in order to make early burnt pan save time in a neutral run. The first of these is called halftime. First you'll want to kill Temmie. This kill will set you to level 3, and the damage increase is necessary to ensure that you can do enough damage to Undyne for this strat. Temmie will die to a mash hit from a Tough Glove at level 1, so just mash the hit like you would on Vulcan in a normal run. You will want to equip the burnt pan at some point during a flower flow cutscene, as it does not lose time because you are just waiting in the cutscene. Now, you will want to do the Undyne trick like normal. And line yourself up on the same pixel you always would. Now, Undyne In a normal neutral run, you would just challenge to speed up the fight, and then flee. But with this strat, you take advantage of Toby's programming, where if you do enough damage to a boss, their phase will advance, so it does not end abruptly and suddenly. Toby coded it in so that if you do 375 damage to Undyne, then it will advance to the end of the first phase, and you'd be able to flee earlier because the phase would end earlier. 3 quads at level 3 is enough to do this every time, so if you can hit 3 quads, you will be able to do it in only 3 attacks. Now these attacks will be slower, and there is quads involved, so there are attacks involved, which means the animations are longer. So it ends up only saving around 6 seconds. However, this is enough to make early burnt pan save time in a neutral run. So attack Undyne with the burnt pan. You can see there's 148. That will be enough damage to bring it down below 375 damage total in just 3 hits. Block the first one. Also block the second one. And on this third one, you'll see how Undyne skips to the dialogue at the end here. Now take your damage to go down to 5 for your Beowulf setup, like you normally would. And you can flee right away. You can see Undyne still doesn't block you, and you can escape. The last thing you'll want to do to make sure you save time is center point skip. Now, you do not need to pick up the burnt pan, so you will not do normal strats in this room. Instead, you will just skip the burnt pan, do safe strat 69 like you normally would, and with enough luck, you will be able to skip the plane. This wrong warp is important because while it does not save too much time, it does significantly lower the steps you would have through the room. That is important in making sure you can get the skip. Now you'll want to walk over, match away the text. You do not need a PC this first vent. So go over to the second vent, get on it, and punch card the second one like you were doing in strat. Now that was a little too fast to in real time commentate, but what happened there is I got the exclamation point for the battle slightly before leaving the room. If this happens, you might still have text on screen from the events and the phone call that is in that room. If you have that exclamation point on screen, or in the soul flashing cutscene, you can close that text to give a little bit extra distance to be able to exit the room. Center point skip does save around 3 to 4 seconds, so it is not critical that you get this. It is still possible to save time over the normal route if you are not able to get center point skip. I hope this video was helpful in understanding early burnt pan. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the Undertale speedrunning Discord in the Run Help section. There will be a link to the speedrunning Discord in the description, as well as any other relevant links discussed in the video.